This is Friday Evening's Undercard. On our wrestling show today, King's Ransom talks about breaking into professional wrestling, a week in the life of an OVW superstar, and their feud with the War Kings. Welcome everyone to Friday Evening's Undercard. I'm your host, Gentleman John. Today we have some very special guests on the show. But first, if you want to follow us on social media, we can be found on Instagram at Friday Evening's Undercard, on Twitter at FUndercard, on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Friday Evening's Undercard. You can reach us via email at fridayeveningsundercard@gmail.com. You can find Ohio Valley Wrestling on all your favorite social media sites and by going to ovwrestling.com. Please have a listen to our interviews with Tony Gunn and Sam Thompson. Also, be on the lookout for an upcoming interview with Callie Young coming out shortly. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and give us that 5-star review on iTunes. It'd mean a lot to us. Now, our guests today are currently involved in one of the hottest tag team feuds in professional wrestling, going against the War Kings for the OVW Southern Tag Team Championship. They've been working in Ohio Valley Wrestling since September of 2018, and since then, they've been among the fastest rising tag team stars in the business. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Maximus Con and Leonis Con, and you can get their official t-shirts by emailing them at kingsransomMGMT@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Maximus and Leonis Con. They are King's Ransom. Welcome to the show, Maximus and Leonis Con. They are King's Ransom. How you doing today, guys?
Good, man. How are you? Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I'm doing well. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be on, man.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and start it off hot. You guys are working a good program with the War Kings right now. Walk us through that a little bit.
Man. They're the top tag team in OVW right now. You know, they're the Legion of Doom's protege, big, scary, tough guys, and it's been very intense. You know, they're big, we're big. They like being the big bullies, but we don't get bullied by anybody. So we're looking forward to taking those tag team titles off of them very soon.
And you worked a really solid match with them. Was it 2 weeks ago on OVW TV?
Yeah, I believe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so walk us through that match a little bit, sort of how it started, how you got into the match, and then how the match worked.
We got into it with them. They came to OVW that night. We went in the ring and challenged them, called them out. They came out the back, and they weren't even dressed in their wrestling gear, so they weren't even trying to wrestle us. So we had to take matters into our own hands, get outside of the ring and throw them in there. And we ended up having a match with them, and we had them beat. We hit them with our finisher, the King's Landing. The referee was knocked down. It was obvious we had him down for more than 3 seconds. Another ref had to come from the back, had to come out and count. And by that time, 15 seconds had passed, and he was able to kick out. And then, of course, like they always do, they had to cheat us, brought the belt into the ring and hit my brother, and ran to the back like some coward.
Yeah, I remember watching that match, and on the show when we did the recap of it, Eric and I, my co-host, we looked at it, and, our thinking is that this stuff between you guys and the War Kings has potential to be really one of the tag team feuds of the year, and not just in OVW. I mean, that's across all of professional wrestling, because what you guys are doing is really great. It's really hot. Both you guys work great together, and it's just really great stuff, man.
Oh yeah, man. It's the two sets of kings at OVW, and there's only room for one tag team, one pair of kings. So, like I said, they look the part. They're big. They're scary. Probably the biggest guys that we've wrestled there, and they have Animal from the Legion of Doom in their corner. So it's a steep challenge, but we're up for it. We're big. We're scary. We're not scared of anybody. And it's going to be a war. They call themselves the War Kings. They wanted war. Well, they found it, because King's Ransom backs down from nobody.
Absolutely. So what's the future look like for you and the War Kings getting together?
Man, we're ready every time, anywhere, any place. It seems like they keep ducking and dodging us. 1 week, Crimson will be there and Jax won't be there. The next week, Jax will be there and Crimson won't be there. Every week, both of us are there, so we're always ready. But it feels, like I said, like they're ducking and dodging us, and they're only going to be able to do that for so much longer. And especially with the big show coming up March 2nd with Impact, hopefully we can get a fair and square title shot at that show.
Yeah, that's for sure. I actually had just forgotten until right now that, they are mandated to be on that show defending those championships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can't run. Like I said, you can only run and hide for so long, and their time is coming.
Okay, well, we'll get to that March 2nd show a little bit later. We'll give it some good time. But coming out of the War Kings program, let's just take a step back and walk us through sort of how you guys got into the business.
How we got into the business? Well, we were living in Las Vegas, and we ended up, before we ever wrestled, we had a tryout with the WWE, and it went very, very well. And because we had no wrestling experience, they wanted us to get some experience under our belt. So we found the Snake Pit, which is Jake the Snake Roberts, Sin Bodie, and D'Lo Brown. It's their wrestling school out in Vegas. We went in there, and from that point on, it was 4 or 5 days a week training. About a year and a half ago, they coached us up, trained us. We were doing a lot of shows in Vegas, some shows in California, some in Oregon, and then Al Snow actually came out to the Snake Pit and did a seminar, and that's how we got to meet Al for the first time. And we talked to him, learned a lot from him, and then a few weeks later, he reached out to our coach D'Lo and let him know that he was taking over OVW and he would love to have us there. And after talking to our coaches and Al, they felt like the best move for us to further our career and to take it to the next level would be to come to OVW. So we packed our things, got in the car, and drove across country. And now here we are.
And now that must be a heck of a move, moving from Las Vegas to Louisville, Kentucky, because I've been to both places. Not lived there, but I've been to both places, and there's a lot of differences there.
Yeah, it's like night and day. It really is. But at the same time, we're here for one reason. We're not here to make friends. We're not here to go out and party. We're here to be the best wrestlers and sports entertainers that we can be and to take it to that next level.
And OVW is for sure one of the best places to do that, because they're one of the few places now that still runs weekly television, where you guys are getting in the ring, getting exposed on television every week.
Oh yeah, that was one of the main reasons for us, and our coaches recommended that we came here because of that. Like you said, every Wednesday we have our TV tapings, and if we want to get to that next level, that's perfect on-the-job training for that. So getting that experience now on TV, learning how to perform on TV in front of a live crowd, it's really, you can't get any better experience and exposure than that.
No, you can't. So you guys are in the wrestling school at OVW, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, we both attend OVW.
Okay, so walk us through like a week in the life of an OVW wrestling school student.
Man, it's a very busy week, I'll say that. Usually Monday night, about 7 or 8, we'll have training and or film review. Tuesday, there's training at the same time. Wednesday, that's show day. TV taping day, so we have to get there extra early, and it's a very long day, probably our longest day, just because of getting there so early, and then, you know, doing TV and doing all of that, the backstage segments, and interacting, taking pictures with fans, signing autographs, stuff like that. Then we have meetings after our show, so sometimes we don't get out of there till pretty late. Then Thursday, we usually have film review again, usually at about 8 o'clock. That's what we had last night. We had film review, and then we did some in-ring training. And then Fridays, sometimes we have shows on Fridays, live events. Sometimes we don't. Today, we don't, but Saturday and Sunday morning is practice from 10 to 2 in the ring with Rip Rogers. And then Monday, start it all over again.
So this is every bit of a 7-day-a-week thing to be there at OVW and working on your craft.
Oh, yeah. And then you also have to account that we're in the gym, you know, lifting weights 4 or 5 times a week on our own time, and, you know, trying to make sure our nutrition is on point. And so, yeah, it's a lifestyle, man. It really is.
Okay, so how much work did you do in the business before you came to OVW? I know you said you trained at the Snake Pit with D-Lo and Jake and Sin Bodie. How much work with the promotions around Vegas did you do?
It was a little different in Vegas, mainly out on the West Coast. All of the shows, we might have had maybe about 20 matches total before we got here. And we did do some TV work in Portland. That was the WCWC, but it's kind of set up different there where they tape a bunch of episodes all in the same day. So it'll be like a 2-day thing, but each day will have, you know, like 4 matches. So it wasn't a weekly thing. It was like all done in 2 days. So out there, we didn't wrestle as often as we do here, you know, get to wrestle here at the bare minimum once a week. But out there, it was more spaced out. So we really didn't, like I said, only about 20 matches. We really didn't have that many matches out there. It was more spaced out, not every week. So moving here was definitely an increase in, you know, the workload, and definitely more frequent matches, you know, having TV every Wednesday, and then on the weekends usually having live events. So we really, like I said, the workload really increased once we got here.
And I think that's one thing that sets OVW apart from almost any other territory in the country anymore, is that they still do run that weekly show, and they get you in there, they get you in the ring, they get you on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really good stuff. But to change gears a little bit, you said you learned to wrestle with Sin Bodie, and we've seen the promos in recent weeks that he's supposed to be coming to OVW. So for the people, honestly, like me, who don't know him and his thing and his style, maybe walk us through like learning with him and what sort of his deal is.
Sin Bodie, he's a character. He's a great guy. He's helped us a tremendous amount. He was the one mainly, you know, at the Snake Pit that was in there conducting class mostly every day. So we probably had the most training with him there. Like I said, he's a great guy. He might be a little intimidating at first, getting a look at him. You know, he has tattoos all over his head and all over his body, but he's a very nice guy. In the ring, as you can see in his promos, he's very, very different, very crazy, very weird, very scary to a lot of people, but he's a great worker, great character. You know, he had a lot of knowledge to pass on to us, you know, with him actually going to OVW back in the day. So I'm very, very excited. We haven't seen him since we came here, we haven't seen him. So it'll be cool to get to see him and get to work with him next week. And I think the fans are really looking forward to it, just because of how awesome his promos are and how creepy and weird and different they are. I think the fans are really going to love it, and I'll definitely enjoy, you know, hopefully we get to work with him. If not, you know, getting to watch him. It's really a great learning experience and very, very entertaining.
And outside of sort of your tag team work, you were talking about maybe doing some, well, I assume you were talking about doing some singles work with Bodie, but you each did a little bit of singles work in the gauntlet for the TV championship a couple of weeks ago. So walk us through like the differences in working solo matches and tag team matches. I mean, beyond the fact that you have a partner in the corner.
I would say, it is different. We're more used to working as a tag team. So I would say, we're a lot more comfortable working, tags, but just because of the simple fact that we've had more experience with that. But training back in Vegas, when we started training as, working against each other. So we had some experience doing singles matches and actually, learning and working against each other. So it is different. I feel singles matches might be a little easier. There's less bodies in the match. So you only have to focus, on one opponent. Whereas a tag match, it can get pretty out of hand pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, when the title's on the line, we're perfectly fine and happy with working singles matches. But I would say our comfort zone definitely would be as a tag team, because we entered this business together, and that's what we're, looking to do, is to become the best tag team in the world.
For sure.
So,
and, I think everybody likes to focus on the singles wrestlers, but, you look back through the history of wrestling, and oftentimes the tag teams, they are the best workers in a given promotion. And I think, at least for a little while, that was the case with you guys in the War Kings. I mean, to me, that was the number one feud that was going on in OVW.
Oh, yeah. I feel like tag team wrestling is kind of like a lost art. I feel like nowadays, it's a lot of singles wrestlers put together as a tag team, and it's not actual, a legit tag team. Like, I mean, there's a few, don't get me wrong, like the Usos, they're brothers. But other than that, there's not too many actual, legit tag teams that are legit, like Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, Legion of Doom. It's really, like I said today, I feel like it's almost a lost art, and we're looking to bring that back, because I feel like tag team wrestling is very exciting, very entertaining, and like you said, it just brings a different dynamic, and it's exciting, seeing all those bodies in the ring. It's very exciting.
Now, so you mentioned the Rock and Roll and the Midnight and all that. Just a little bit of change of gears. When you were watching wrestling, like just when you were a fan, what match did you see that like really made you go, that's what I want to do? I want to do what those guys or that guy's doing.
Man, I really don't know if there's a specific match. I just know when we were kids, the first time that we laid eyes on, I believe it was Monday Night Raw that we had turned on, and it was just everything about it, every aspect of it just caught us, and we just fell in. It was like love at first sight, and ever since then, as kids, that became our dream, and our dream job was to be WWE superstars. A match that I guess, really sticks in my mind that really, really affected me when I was a kid, I would say would be the Undertaker versus Mankind Boiler Room Brawl match, because we were actually at that event. I believe it was in Cleveland, Ohio, SummerSlam, maybe 96. But that really, because the Undertaker was my favorite wrestler, and seeing, everything that happened in that match and the outcome, that really, really emotionally invested me into it even more. But like I said, just every aspect of wrestling, the presentation, the characters, just everything as a whole really is what made us, I think, decide that, hey, this is what we want to do. And then especially because there's two of us, that created a very strong bond between us two as brothers. And it's a lot more fun and a lot better chasing a dream, having somebody right there, right by your side, so chasing it together. So yeah, like since we were kids, since we first laid eyes on it, it just stuck with us.
Okay, yeah. It's definitely always better to try to go for that goal, like with somebody else there working with you.
Oh yeah,
so,
definitely.
You've already answered the sort of the second of the questions that I ask everybody, which is what was your favorite wrestler as a kid? You answered that one with The Undertaker.
Yes, sir. The Dead Man.
The Dead Man. he is actually making an appearance back in Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
Oh, really? No, we didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and I don't know if this means he's like done with the WWE or what, but he's actually going to be at the whatever that big podcast convention thing that they're running with the AEW show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's just like
wow.
a personal appearance that he's making there. I guess like an autograph sign-in or whatever. But I was shocked to see that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know I've seen that he had taken like WWE references off his social media accounts and stuff like that, but I didn't really think too much into it. But no, hearing that now, that's crazy. That really is.
So we'll get away from that because we could probably be on that all day. Who's your favorite wrestler to work with?
At OVW or just in general?
In general, and working with your brothers on the tag team can't count. So, like, who's your favorite opponent?
I would probably say that's a tough one. I would probably have to say our coach, Sin Bodhi, just because the fact that, you know, he was our coach and, you know, we were the students, getting to finally wrestle against him was a great experience, something I'll never forget. He's just so good in the ring. He's been around for so long, so it makes it very, very fun, and he's a great character. He makes it easy, you know, to put on a great show. I would probably say Sin Bodhi. No disrespect to anybody else that we've wrestled, but you know, he's our coach, so it's a little different, and he has an advantage on everybody else when it comes to that.
Yeah. And one final question in this little series, putting you on the spot here.
Sounds good.
What is your dream match, against who, and where would it be?
Oh man. Oof. Now, is this tag team or singles match?
Either or both.
Oh man, let's see.
And you don't even have to limit it to like what's like possible based on who's still working. So it could be like anybody and anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. The place would definitely be WrestleMania. Definitely. I would say, man, that's a tough one. I'm kind of leaning towards a ladder match with the Hardy Boys at WrestleMania. The Hardys were a tag team that we really looked up to, them and Legion of Doom. So I would, and we've done, you know, the ladder match, and we had a great time doing that, having the belts. It would, you know, obviously be for the tag team titles, having the belts hung above the ring at WrestleMania against, you know, one of the greatest tag teams ever and the Hardy Boys. I think that would definitely be a dream for us.
Okay, the Hardy Boys at WrestleMania. Definitely a quality pick there. And so yeah, we'll just shift a little gears off there, and we'll sort of start down the road to bring this to a close. You told me before we got on here that you guys want to try to grow the audience at OVW. So what are some of the strategies that are being used either by you, the other wrestlers, Al, and everybody involved to grow the audience for OVW?
I would say first, you know, it starts with just basically, you know, spreading the word, you know, people that you talk to or converse with or places that you go. And fortunately for my brother and I, you know, we look so different and unique, especially here in Kentucky. We stand out. So a lot of people will approach us and want to talk to us. So we just make sure to always spread the word and, you know, give them flyers or give them, you know, coupons to get into OVW and just kind of let them know about it and that, you know, where it's at and that it exists and what we do. And then Al is he's been bringing in a lot of familiar faces and familiar talent. I don't want to, you know, spoil anything, but, you know, you see him bringing in Sin Bodhi and, you know, he's brought in Animal from the Legion of Doom. And now we have sort of like Impact stars invading OVW with Sami Callihan and OVE coming in and messing with Tony Gunn. So bringing in different superstars from who are familiar faces from other places, and definitely, merging with Impact. And, there's a lot of other things behind the scenes that Al and his business partners have in the works to help spread the word. So I definitely think we're headed in the right direction. It's just about, making people aware of it, because a lot of people here, they knew what OVW was, when you had the Brock Lesnar's here, the Batistas, John Cena's, but I think a lot of them kind of, forgot that it existed. So we just kind of have to remind those old fans, and try to let them know, hey, we're OVW's still here. It just got bought by Al Snow, and we're trying to bring it back up to what it once was. And I believe it was in October, we had our 1000th TV episode on 4th Street. And I want to say that we drew over 1,800 people there. And that show, we had Mick Foley there, Billy Gunn, Hurricane Helms, Mr. Kennedy. So I think that really, really helped spread the word. And we need to do, more shows like that, because I think that's going to be definitely beneficial in increasing our fan base and getting more eyes on OVW.
So now you mentioned that they were bringing in Sami Callihan and OVE, and obviously that ties into that big March 2nd show that we mentioned earlier. So walk us through a little bit of how that's shaping up.
Man, it's reminding me of, back in the day when WCW, ECW, started to invade WWE. I love it. Merging with them. I think it's going to be great for everybody. Impact has, a pretty big platform and a lot of great superstars there. And me and my brother, we love competition. It's going to give us more competition. It's going to push us to become better. It's just going to make us all better as a whole, I believe, because Sami Callihan, OVE, all the guys that they have, the list just goes on at Impact. They have some great superstars who have been around for a while and who a lot of people know. So I think that's only going to benefit us all and help take us to that next level. So we're looking forward to it. Like I said, we came here for one reason, and that's to be the best. And we're not stopping for anybody.
Yeah, you always got to be trying to get better there. Now,
oh yeah, definitely.
I think during the most recent taping, they announced, was it 2 matches announced for the March 2nd show?
I know the Tony Gunn they announced. What was I can't remember what the second one was.
So as I read it, they announced Tony Gunn against Sami Callihan. I mean, obviously we could see that one coming.
Yeah.
But there was another match announced that, because obviously as we're recording this, I haven't seen the taping. I've only read the recaps.
Uh-huh.
It was, I can't tell if it's OVE against OVW in a handicap match, like a 4-on-2 handicap, or if it's going to be 4-on-4, and so there's going to be 4 Impact guys, or if maybe I just misread it entirely and it's going to be 2-on-2.
It might be like a 4-on-4 kind of thing. Just thinking, that last episode, I know OVE came out with multiple guys and attacked Tony. So then a group of OVW guys came out, and it was probably 4 or more from each side. So it might be a big tag team match like that.
Okay.
Team OVE versus OVW.
I know the way it made it sound was that the Christ brothers, the 2 like main OVE guys, were going to do the match, but I couldn't tell how it was going to be mixed together after that. I guess we'll find that out when I get to watch the episode.
Your guess is as good as mine, man. Whatever it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be a war, because they were pretty hot Wednesday with everything that went on with them attacking Tony, and the week before with Sami Callihan spitting in Tony's face. He didn't take too kindly to that. So whatever the combination is going to be for that match, it's going to be very, very brutal, and I look forward to, getting to watch that.
Yeah, and so obviously we don't have all the other matches announced, but obviously the television championship is going to be defended, and right now I believe Zoe is the champion. I think he won the gauntlet last week.
Yep, Big Zoe. Big Zoe is the champ.
And then Callie is the women's champion.
Yes.
And then obviously the War Kings, who we've spent a little time on.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, yeah, that's actually shaping up to be a really, really good card.
Oh, yeah, man. I know we're selling out tickets. I only think there's a few tickets left. It's gonna be a big show. Very big show, a very good card. Like I said, hopefully we get our title shot. We're looking forward to it. Cannot wait until March 2nd.
Yeah, should be a great show. Well, as we sort of wind it to a close here, do you have any final thoughts you want to add for the listeners?
Yeah, listeners, like I said, March 2nd, 4400 Shepherdsville Road. Doors open, I believe, at 6:30. Impact, OVW, merge-in pay-per-view. It's gonna be epic. King's Ransom's gonna be there, so you definitely do not want to miss that. It's gonna be a big night, very big night.
Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, and
thank you for having me.
And we will talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was King's Ransom. We appreciate him coming on the show. We appreciate you listening. I'm Gentleman John, and I hope all you folks out there have a great rest of the day.